Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Oh my goodness. Let me just greet you on this Saturday. Oh, it is Saturday. Saturday. You guys, yesterday was St. Patty's Day. And for whatever reasons, I mean, there were so many reasons. I tried in different places to get online and was unable to get online. And so it's just been a comedy. Yesterday was just a comedy of errors. But I'm here today. I'm here today. And I am thrilled to be able to greet you on this day. It's funny because I just have so much going on. Tomorrow is my day. Tomorrow is my birthday, and I'm excited about that. But it's really interesting because I have been rather low key. Not Yesterday I spent a good part of my day running, and then didn't get my normal in. As a matter of fact, this past week has not been normal for me, and so there is a part of me that is just, you know, just wanting to breathe. Yeah, just breathe through some stuff and settle into the period of time that I'm in. And I will tell you that um, Thursday was crazy, and then yesterday was crazy, and it's just been really wonderful and interesting. And what am I doing with these glasses? It's been wonderful and interesting and challenging and all of those things. And so I hope that yours is going amazing as well. Um, let's see, I was downtown on Thursday. Yesterday I was all over the place. And I haven't had my normal meditation times. I haven't had my normal yoga workouts. I haven't had my workouts. I've just been, you know, ah, it's good though. It's good. And I've been in this thing of for the last 2 weeks asking myself a lot of questions, and just really just trying to be present in the questions and letting the answers arise. And so I hope that this spring equinox is upon us, and so I hope that through this you too are, whether it is, because this affects people in very different ways. But what happens is we go through this. I don't know. I'll talk about me. We go through this kind of toss up, mix up, and then as things start to settle back into place, it settles back into what I'm hoping is a new order for you within your own experience, within your own life. And so I am just, feeling this thing. If you could just imagine all these pieces out there, and they're beautiful and they're good, but now as they are starting to, you know, I'm thinking that they're probably not even starting to fall back into place. But as they begin to fall back into place, to then see what that means, um, to see what it means for me, to see what it means for you, all of those things are things that are out there for us to consider. So welcome to Saturday. I don't know that I am going to be on here long, but for the time that I am opening myself up to however I am guided to go, and I'm just excited and happy about it. For some reason, I am getting text messages, and it's so funny because tomorrow is the birthday, and whether it is the birthday messages or whatever messages are coming through, it's all good. It is all good. So, yeah, that is so cool. So, thank you for those of you who are already checking in on that level, and yeah, we'll keep it moving. We shall keep it moving. All right, so yeah, I had yesterday was really interesting, and I want to talk for a minute about one of the things that I did yesterday. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to lead what I was calling a Forgiveness Friday kind of workshop, talk, whatever, and it is midday. It's noontime on Fridays for the next. There's 3 Fridays. And it was interesting because I go into this with a story in mind. I mean, all of us have stories that just resonate with us. And through the story, to look at ways to redefine or to look anew at situations. So I go in with a particular story, and waiting to see what comes up, what bubbles up to the top. And it was really interesting because a lot of times we are born into a framework that we don't always recognize as being there. There are boxes that people have put us into, whether it is the box of a woman or box of a black person or a black woman, or the box to be a mother or to be a wife or a husband, or a black man or a man. We've got these boxes that we are born into. And people have the idea that the framework that has been presented is the only possible or highest and best or the ideal situation. And because the edges of those boxes have either expanded or become warped in some type of way, there is this big push to reassert the boundaries to which you can expand or explore. And so, as we warp the edges of those, all these people are busy trying to reassert what it means to be a man, or what it means to be a woman. And we start to talk about hopefully, what we do is the gifts of the situation without looking at it like the constraints of the situation. We know that in our society there has been so much that has been developed around these identities, and then as they started to loosen and soften, whether that is through the blossoming of the LGBTQ plus identities, or the blossoming of what is possible for females, or what is possible in general for the what defines a family or holds it together. All of these things are the edges are being challenged, and as we challenge these edges, there is this there's an adjustment that needs to be made. And so when you think about the adjustments that have to be made, we there's a lot of people that are trying to beat back the new, to beat back what has become. And so what we see is uh, uh, I don't know if we want to see that there is a country or people who are in serious turmoil around these ideas. We have taken it, I'll say for me, I have taken it for granted that the expansion is not going to be a contraction as well. So as we expand into the new, there is a unwillingness to contract by then somebody saying, well, now now the color is blue instead of what we have been operating in. And so, if we are not aware or not diligent, we will fall prey to the people that will push back along the edges. I know that in some communities, people who have certain ways of being, will have people within that community check them when they start to color outside of the lines. You'll see it in churches, like, say, for instance, a church where they don't believe in wearing makeup, or they've got a thing about covering your head, or some churches you go to will say, women have to wear dresses, and when you do this, I remember coming up in a Baptist church, and when a woman came to church in pants, it was like people would be like, there's this, like, oh, she walked in here with pants on. As if you can't walk into the sanctuary with pants on. And so there was this, like, wow, there was all these subtle ways that people would try to say to you, get back in your place, or try to reassert the what has been, the challenge that has now been made, because this person has on something that would have, that was not acceptable. And so, I used to marvel at that, and marvel at the women who snubbed their noses at the idea that they couldn't wear pants in the church. The people who then at some point decided, I'm going to actually wear makeup, or I'm going to actually do the thing that somebody is telling me not to do, not because I'm being contrary, but because I'm being myself. And so, and it's really interesting. Would you have to change or go someplace different in order to reassert or your identity or what you desire for yourself? Or do you find or make place where you are? So there have been some amazing women who have led the way at pushing back the walls that kept us confined. There have been women who, as we watch them, and doing wonderful and amazing things for us in our identity, as we watch the Oprah Winfreys of the world, or as we watch Maya Angelou, or Marianne Williamson, or as we watch Gloria Steinem, or as we keep an eye to the past where we had great queens and women kings who have pushed the boundaries for us. And then somebody tells us, in order for us to survive, to get into that box. And so now that we are starting to break out, it's not for the first time, because we were put in boxes. And so now, as we start to get a feel for what it means to stretch, we're not going back. So yesterday doing this Forgiveness Friday, somebody made the statement that she was raised to be a housewife. She had, watched her mother be a housewife, and that was the plan for her. And she says she had the idea that as a housewife, she knew what that looked like because it had been what she was groomed for. And so, the idea of the husband goes off to work, you fix his lunch, you greet him when he comes home, he pays the bills and takes care of the home, and you take care of the hearth, so to speak. And she said that that was all like it was all thrown off. Like there was he didn't play by the rules. And so, because he didn't follow the rules of the box that he was supposed to occupy, it meant that she could no longer, because she had a house to run and children to feed and all of this stuff. And because he wasn't doing his assigned part, she could not do it as she had thought. She had to get out and go to work and fight her way through the world. And so, as she told this story, I started thinking about the boxes to which we were assigned, and then the ones that we have the ones that we have chosen for ourselves. And I wonder to some degree if there is an active choosing. If there is, have you made a choice about what it is that you desire to do? And not because, you're going eeny, meeny, miny, mo through a framework that is already there, but rather deciding who it is that you are and then creating the framework that you exist in. Because what we know is, and of the women that I maybe named off, the people who have influenced me in my life, or who we hold up as being the model for something, when we look at them, what we find is that they didn't just choose a box and get into it, but rather created a whole new framework around which they now exist in. So when Oprah started out, she, I don't know if she had in mind that, she would become the empire that she is. Um, was it enough just to, it wasn't enough just to be the person doing the weather. It was, now we go from doing the weather to, doing segments, and then to having a show, and then running around the audience like Phil Donahue did, and then creating out of that something that then worked for her. When Maya Angelou used to dance, and then allowing the artist that was her to then flow into other areas and other aspects, whether it is the not Maya Angelou, because I just said her, whether it was a Gloria Steinem, right, who was part of, at the forefront of the women's liberation movement, and now to be a professor at a college, or the Angela Davises of the world, and her love of information and knowledge, and how she brings that to the forefront, whether it is Marianne Williamson, who is now again running for president, a Course in Miracles, a Jewish woman who found the Course in Miracles, who ran support groups for people with AIDS, who then started speaking beyond that circle, and then creating like a ministry, book author, and now her second time running for president. as she works to change the model, the framework that we all exist in. And whether or not we agree with her way of seeing the world or not, we can't help but acknowledge the fact that it's changing the conversation. So we look around at the different models, and if we've just and I think we do our children a disservice too, because what we do is we put boxes in front of them and ask them which box that they want to be in, rather than allowing them to create something anew, rather than talking about this from a framework of, is that what's right for you may not be in existence because you had not been into existence. And so what does it mean to now breathe into the fullness of who you are? And so that becomes the challenge for us, how to find our truth. And even as I approach this new birthday, and it is taking me to, into new waters, right? Because I haven't been here before. But even this transitional age that I'm in, what next? What now? What new? And if I'm not asking myself these questions, then I have to really consider whether or not I'm still growing. And I know that I am. And so for each of us, it becomes a question of, and now what? Growth into what? What's possible? Am I to remain in the same box that I've already always been in, that same kind of profession, that same kind of ideology? Now what? What's next, right? And so it's a question, even as I consider my metrics for who I am and what I bring to the table, I know that it is not based on somebody else's perception of what I ought to be doing, but rather my own. So sitting in I'm sitting in an amazing space with an amazing energy that is happening for me, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be having this kind of this kind of shift. Thursday when I was downtown at a meeting, it was funny. I met some. There was a couple of women that were in. You know how you break out into smaller groups to have a group discussion, and there was a couple of women that were at my table. And so, as we were talking about the places where they get their news and the things that they listen to, they brought up the radio station 95.9 that I am on. And, it used to be that when I go out somewhere, I always think of our voices as like a signature. Just like our face, we don't look exactly like somebody else. Our walks are very distinct. Our voices, too, even the cadence of our voices are very distinct. I remember way back in the day when I was driving a taxi cab, I had a woman get into my cab with me, and I started talking to her, and we're having a conversation as I'm driving her to her job. And at a certain point, after I talked to her about, 5 minutes, I said to her, I was like, your voice is so familiar. And she says, really? And I said, yeah. I said, you sound like this woman named Imani. And she says, I am Imani. Imani used to do a radio show. I can't remember what the name of it was, but the she was using her government name when she reserved the cab, and when I was talking to her, she introduced herself as Betty, right? And so as I talked to her, I was like, wow, you sound like Imani. And only for her to say, I am her. And it's like, oh, okay, right? And so when we listen to people over and over again, we become, because voices are distinctive, just like faces, fingerprints, all of those things, they're very distinctive. So I'm at this thing, and these women are telling me that they listen to the radio show that they're on. But now they had not identified my voice, which I thought was really interesting. And I thought, that, you know, struck me as interesting. So we went on with the conversation because I didn't want to say anything. We went on with the conversation, and then at a certain point, I said to them, I was like, I have a show on that station. And the woman turns and looks at me, the older woman. She turns and looks at me and she says, shit happens. And the other woman corrected her and said, it's not shit, it's shit happens. And so it was kind of funny because, as soon as they recognized the name of the show, then it was like it started to make sense. And the fact that I have done the show with Dr. Brown, it was very distinctive, or very, oh my gosh, that Dr. Brown, they are in awe of him just like I am, and feel so honored to be able to bring that to the air, to for people to hear. And so it was really one of those moments where I thought, wow, this is amazing and good. I don't know that it was something, a box that I chose in the first place, one that I identified and gravitated towards so much as it was something that was created out of an opportunity. And so, as we go through this, these opportunities present themselves, and we can either step into them, not based on what we thought it ought to look like in the future, but based on how things come into fruition, and we get to say yes to it or not. That's one of the amazing things too about Shonda Rhimes, and what she has been able to create out of her ability to say yes. That Year of Yes book was amazing because it talked about this, just that, to say yes to something that presents itself. We all have the ability to say yes at some point, but if we, there are so many of us who are so busy saying no to everything that we never get to the point where we are just allowing life to happen to us, through us, for us, any of that stuff. So it becomes the challenge that we have, and I hope that, at some point, we all just say yes to what then presents itself. What may not have been a box or a choice before, but now that it is before you, that you're able to say yes to it. I don't know. It's, but that would be a beautiful, wonderful thing. So, now, having said all of that, I was not here yesterday, so I did not read yesterday's thing. So I want to read yesterday's, and then I also want to read today's, because I'm behind. I'm behind on a lot of things, and so because I'm behind on these things, I want to just I want to stay consistent with where I have been. So let me share with you what yesterday's meditation was as well as today's, and see where I go from there, if I go anywhere from there. So this was from yesterday, and it was called "What's Going On Here." As you know, these were written by Michael Gott, Reverend Michael Gott, and are in the Science of Mind magazine for this particular month. It's called "What's Going On Here," and the first quote that he takes is from Albert Einstein, and it says, "The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing." And then from Ernest Holmes, he says, "I know that the changeless abides with me. I am calm and peaceful in the midst of confusion. I know that nothing moves the soul. I know that nothing moves the soul." That's from Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker, 365 Days of Richer Living. So here's what Reverend Gott wrote. He says, "Confusion is a universal experience, but it is not one that has any grounding in spiritual truth. Clarity, divine intelligence, wisdom, intuitive thought, these are spiritual attributes and ways of being we can call on when we are temporarily confused by life's circumstances. My prayer partner and 2018 CSL practitioner meritorious honoree, Maggie Cole, has a simple prayer that she uses in these times. Mm. Let me, that just She has a simple prayer that she uses in these times, which I have also taken as my own for my own practice. And the simple prayer is, "God, show me what's here." It's at once a demand upon a higher mind and a humble request. To me, it means that when I don't have enough information in my human knowing to make sense of something, I call on a deeper wisdom that will guide me. To reveal clarity out of confusion often requires humility. We might need to release our attachments to form or outcome. We might need to shift our perceptions or even let a dream die a peaceful death. But when something amazing will happen, but then amazing will happen. We will find some treasure hidden in the mess of it all. Some important healing will occur in our belief system, or we will find freedom from a troubling pattern that has been with us for decades. Gold will be revealed amongst the ashes. You see, everything is working together for your good, uniquely and perfectly for your soul's evolution. Show me what's here. The goal will be revealed if you are willing to find it. Oh, I love that. Show me what's here. I always ask, help me see this differently. I love show me what's here, what's present, what am I not seeing? That's good. The affirmation that he puts with this is in this moment, I release attachment and limited vision. I open to seeing my life from a higher spiritual reality. I receive the information and perspective I need for my growth and my blessing. That's good. That's good. So from today, from role to soul, from role, ROLE, to soul. That sounds like what I was talking about. So the first quote that he uses on this particular one is from Mary Starton, and it says, "We have to dare to be ourselves, however frightening or strange that self may prove to be." And then from Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker, 365 Days Richer Living, the quote is, "We do not have to search out the divine spirit, but rather we should recognize it as the center of all life. All right. So, what does Reverend Gott have to say about this one? So, this is what he says. In her book, The Inner Work of Age Shifting from Role to Soul, Connie Zieweg offers a path to authentic living during the retirement process. Whether or not we are at the particular transition in life, our soul always invites us to step out of the roles we have chosen or that have been chosen for us and into authenticity. This is what I was talking about. And it goes with today. So perfect. John Bradshaw introduced the motto of this dysfunctional family in 1980s, introduced the motto of the dysfunctional family in the 1980s, which describes some universal roles family members take on when the family unit is unhealthy, like scapegoat, the golden child, caretaker, hero, mascot, those things. You remember that, right? He says we find ourselves naturally drawn to fulfill these parts in a misguided attempt to restore connection, belonging, and well being. And many of us have internalized these roles and continue to play that part in our lives, in marriages and friendships and in work settings. The good news is once we recognize we are playing a role and not being our authentic self, we are free to release it. The pull to resume the part may persist, but with practice and awareness, we can learn to be our true selves more and more. By living this way, we experience freedom. Where are you playing a role in your life that no longer serves you? Are you willing to be who you are? Isn't it time to find your courage and begin? So the affirmation that he puts with this is I release my need to play a part in my own, to play a part in my own or anyone else's drama. I claim my spiritual birthright of wholeness and creativity. I live from this soul awareness, and authenticity is reflected back to me. Uh, so that is basically what I talked about today, in different terms, however, but one and the same. Figure out what it means to come out of the box that you have existed in. Push the boundaries, blossom into newness. Figure out what it is that serves you. What's your truth? Don't continue to live somebody else's vision of your life. And sometimes what we've got to do is we've got to forgive the boxes and the people who forced them, the people or situations that forced us into those. And as we forgive that and release it, we then get to blossom into something else, something that we were truly always meant to be. Oh my goodness, it's good when we recognize that so much, we are destined for so much more. So that's what I got for you today. Whenever you have listened to this, I don't know, it could be, today, it could be tomorrow, whenever, but that's what I have for you. And I am so honored and appreciative that you were able to watch and to share with me, to be present with me whenever it is that you engage in this. Tomorrow is my day. I will not be on in the morning because it is also a Sunday, but I will be here at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Yay, with all my bells and whistles. Look, I'm going to grab my little thing over here and for my own birthday. And just shake my little thing because it'll be my birthday. So So join me tomorrow at 1, if you will. And yeah, hit me up. I got my, look, no, it's there, right? My little Cash App is there. Drop some change in my basket for the birthday. Look, or some dollars or whatever. I appreciate it. I bless you. I am seeing all the very best for you as always, wanting you to expand into your highest, best possible self. Hey, Calvin, how are you? Yes, I am going to have a wonderful day, and I was just saying that tomorrow is my birthday. I don't know how long you've been watching, but it's my birthday. I will be on at 1 tomorrow, so I invite you, if you are available, to tune in at 1 p.m. Well, Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So, from Ohio to North Carolina, blessings to you. All right, y'all. I am, thank you. I am pushing off here, and I will see you 1 o'clock tomorrow. And of course, I'll be here at my normal time Monday, of next week. Yeah, Monday. All right. Blessings to you, and I bow deeply to you. Have an amazing, amazing day.